Oh man, that music takes me back. Koji Kondo, you are an absolute legend. We are talking about Super Mario World today with ROM Detectives. Hit romdetectives.com for all sorts of information about these videos, as well as like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be talking about the power-up system as well as the reserve system for this game. I'm going to go ahead and get started with my 0 completed levels in my save state, just so I don't have to watch the introduction. And you guys all know how this works. We're going to run through here. We're going to go over this. We're going to get our first power-up, which is a super mushroom, and it's going to make us big. Now, how does the game know that we are big? It stores that information at address 19. You can see right here we've got a 1 in there. If we drop this back to 0, we go back to regular Mario. If we set it to 1, we're back to Super Mario. If we set it to 2, we've got our cool little cape here. And if we set it to 3, we've got Fire Mario. And that's pretty much it for the game. Although the game does have a few other power-ups, you can get Starman, you can get the P-Balloon and everything. That's about it. It's quite a few less than Super Mario Bros. 3 with all its suits. Now, of course, the whole point of videos like this is we start playing around and say, well, what else do we have? What else can we do with this? What happens if we set this to 4? What is that? Why does Mario look like ketchup? He's and look at how he moves around too. This is not me doing that. That's actually his walk animation. He is trying to fly and pick stuff up and look up all at the same time. And when you take a hit, instead of dying, even though he looked like he was regular Mario, he shrinks down to, well, stays the same as regular Mario. That's because the game uses a 0 to denote regular Mario. Anything other than a 0 is treated as a power-up. And since I had something other than a 0, let's go to 4, that means I've got a power-up. Well, what else can we do with this? How about 5? We've got bright red pants, green hat, purple face. Okay. Well, what about 6? Okay, green and brown. Very nice. 7. Mario's in blackface. That is inappropriate. 8. He's sort of purple and whatever. And 9 and 10. And we can go through all of these. There's, you've got 256 possible options. But let's go ahead and set it back to 4, this very strange one. And taking a hit, hilarious, he doesn't do anything. And let's go ahead and get you to 5 now. And what I want to do, actually, let's do this. I'm going to set you back to 4. Running out of time already. Let me show you something really quick here. Time is stored down in this area. And we can, where are we? Right here. So I've got 80 seconds. Here's 77. I'm just going to set myself up to 9. Now I've got 972 seconds, so I've got plenty of time. All right, let's set us back to 4. And I'm going to run ahead and get myself another power-up. And what happens? I jump directly to Fire Mario. That's strange. Well, what about those other power-ups? Got a mushroom on deck here. I'm going to set myself to 5, sort of green Mario. That is Fire Flower with a mushroom in reserve. If I set it to 6, I'm going to get that green Mario turns into a Cape Mario. I'm going to set it to 7, and oops, I said I'm going to set it to 7. Blackface Mario becomes, stays small, he really should change that, and gets a Fire Flower on deck, and then I'm going to set it to 8, and let's see, we're going to get, what? A mushroom should not cause that, that's unusual. What happens if you get a second mushroom? You just get another Starman, that's very unusual. Okay. Now here's another really interesting thing. I'm going to set ourselves back to 4. And, well, here, let's just do this. Oops, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and go to 4. And we got that. Notice how he moves down, too. If I set him to 0, 0, he's standing on the block. If I set him to 0, 4, he goes under the block. That's unusual. I don't know what that's all about. But if you, normally with these yellow blocks, if you're just regular Mario and you try to do a spin jump on them, nothing happens. You actually have to have a super mushroom in order to break through them, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and set it to 4 and do a spin jump. Watch this. Notice how he's cycling between Super Mario and regular Mario. Will he break through these blocks? Yes, he will. And that's because the game, like I said before, it treats anything other than 0 as being big. So that means even with your little diminutive stature here, you can still break through everything. If we jump ahead, also one other interesting thing about this, when you're small Mario and you hit these blocks, you'll notice that his head goes right up to the edge of the block to hit them. If you set it to, I'm going to go ahead and go to number 5 here. Watch where his head hits here. Notice it's not quite hitting those blocks. Again, the game is treating it as though he's big, even though he's not. So he's still not quite making the whole jump there, which is very strange. Now, one other thing that we can do, let's talk now about the reserve items. That's about all you can do with the power-ups. So I'm going to go to reserve. Now, normally you wouldn't have a feather in this level, but I went ahead and hacked one in there. And when you drop it out and you collect it, it gives you your feather, and that's what we expect. Well, the item on deck, the reserve item up here, is stored in address DC2. So if we drop down here to memory address DC2, we've got a 4 in there right now, which is the feather. I can set this to 0, which is nothing, a 1, which is a super mushroom, a 2, which is a fire flower, a 3, which is a star, which you aren't normally supposed to have there, but it does actually treat it like a star, and then 4 is the feather. Well, what happens if we keep going? If we set it to 5, we get an upside down blue Yoshi egg. And when we use that, it turns into a 1-up mushroom. Okay, I'll take it. What else can we do here? How about 06, an upside down cracked gray mushroom? This one's particularly interesting because it is, let me drop back down here and just do a regular jump up here. Sorry, I'm using a keyboard, not a gamepad. There we go. Okay, if we use this one, it turns into a climbing vine, a little off kilter, but it's a climbing vine that we could actually climb onto. If you ever want to have a climbing vine and you need one, you can just come into DC2, set it to 06, and now you've got a climbing vine. Well, we can do pretty much anything we want with this. Anything that you want in the game can become a reserve item. For example, what if we put in 91? It's this really creepy looking Goomba, but when we use it, it becomes a Koopa. And one that is immune to fireballs, apparently. Whoa, that was strange. What else can we do with this? Let's see. Let's put in, say, C2. It looks messed up. What is it? It's Yoshi! Yay! Anytime you want, and any level you want, you can make a Yoshi just simply fall from the sky. That's awesome. What else can we do with this? Let's come over here and let's put in, how about, now when I said you can put in anything you want in here, I mean anything. Check this one out, 3B. What is this? It is a fishing Lakitu. Now the graphics are all messed up because ordinarily you can't get a fishing Lakitu in a regular stage like this, but it can hit you just like normal, and it can kill you just like normal. What else can we do? How about this one? This one's bizarre. What just happened? There are hammers in the ceiling, there are green and brown hills, and there's lightning. Real lightning. This is like the boss battle with Bowser. You're actually getting the lightning, and it is an item in the game, which is bizarre. What else can we do? How about this one? How about 0D? When I said you can put anything you want in here, I mean even things that aren't actually in the game, like things that were scrapped. Check this out. A flying key. It was programmed for the game, but it was never actually used, but there you go. You can put a flying key in there as well. Now, there's tons of stuff that you can put in there, and romdetectives.com has a list of all of the stuff and how to figure out what you're going to get. I'm going to show you one other thing here before I go. This is not exactly directly related to power-ups, but it is related to Yoshi, and he's kind of a power-up. So, you know, normally you get a Yoshi, you can jump on his back to hop on him, and you can do a spin jump to get off of him and then back on. Well, the game stores whether you're riding a Yoshi based on address CB. It's not necessarily like whether you're riding a Yoshi, but it's more like, should the two of you guys be moving in tandem? Right now it's a 1, which means that yes, we're moving in tandem. If I dismount, you'll see it went to 0, which means that we're not moving in tandem. Well, what happens when you are riding Yoshi and then you just come in and you tell the game that you're not riding him anymore? Watch this. Okay. I am functioning as though I'm riding a Yoshi. Mario is sort of hovering around like he's got one, but Yoshi's just sitting there waiting to be ridden. And you can run around the game and you can do all the stuff that you would normally do with a Yoshi, but you're also invincible. The reason I think you're invincible, and I'm not sure about this, is because the game, I think, checks collision against Yoshi when you're riding him, not Mario. And since I don't have a Yoshi nearby, they're not colliding with Yoshi. And Yoshi, because he's just hanging out in his idle state waiting to be ridden, that means that he's also invincible because he can't take damage this way. So both you and Yoshi are just invincible right now, which is pretty crazy. Now, you can still fall to your death, of course, but if you come up here, you can see that, nope, we just walk through, we never take any damage. I think this is just one of those things that you find out when you play around with the game's ROM. So this is what ROM Detectives is all about. If you want to figure out how to do stuff like this, like I said, go to romdetectives.com. It's our wiki, and we've got tons of information about all sorts of different games. And then for more videos like this, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And we'll do a little butt scooting over here, just sort of hover ourselves away, and we'll give a peace sign as we check out. There we go. All right, thanks. See you on the next one.